So I was walking down the street and I see this atom. And the atom looks really distressed. He looks really down. So I come up to the atom. I'm just like, hey, little buddy, what's going on? And he said, I lost an electron. I was like, you lost an electron? Are you sure? He said, I'm positive. So, okay, I'll help you out a little bit. Like, what happened? You lost an electron. It's like, well, if I'm going to tell you the truth, I didn't exactly lose it. It left me. It's like, your electron left you? It's like, yeah, you see that atom across the street? And I looked across the street, and wouldn't you know it, there was an atom over there. I'd never seen her before. I was like, yeah, I see her. He's like, yeah, the electron just went to her. It just went to her? Yeah, the electron just went to her, said it had a better affinity for her. I was like, electron affinity? Is that even a thing? He's like, yes, it is. And he was like, could you like maybe help me out a little bit? Like maybe talk to her? Like I tried to talk to her myself, but she was just so negative. I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. What's her name? He's like, chlorine, but everyone calls her Cl. And my name's sodium, but everyone calls me Na. I was like, well, that makes sense. So anyway, so I go across the street. I walk over to chlorine, and I'm like, hey, I just want to talk to you a little bit. Is that all right? My buddy back there tells me that it seems like you've taken one of his electrons, which I guess makes you a little electro-heavy, whereas my buddy back there, he's just a little bit electrolyte, and she's just like, all right, stop it right there. I'm just done with his electronegativity. You go back and tell him I'm not giving the electron back. And I was like, all right. So yeah, like now I'm somehow the go-between between these two atoms. So I go back to sodium, and I'm like, yeah. So she talked to me, and she said that she wasn't going to give you the electron back. He's like, what? But it's mine. Yeah, she says, like, no matter what, she's not giving the electron back. It's happier with her. He's like, what am I going to do? And that's when it came to me. I was like, you know what you should do? You two should bond. And as crazy as that idea is, it totally worked. Like, I didn't think it would, but it did. They actually fell for each other hard. Like, from the second they locked eyes, they were joined at the hip, those two. And they kept an eye on each other for life. They shacked up. Like, they got a house. I guess you could call it a compound. And you know what? Like, they got really serious, and she even, like, changed her name for him. She called herself Chloride. And, this story stuck with me, and even, like, years later, I was kind of like, whatever happened to those two? Like, they couldn't have possibly stayed together, that odd couple, so I paid a visit, and sure enough, there they were together, as happy as always. And I said, like, how does it feel, like, you two always being joined at the hip? Doesn't it make you a little bit salty? They said, no, we figured it out. Anytime we get sick of each other, we just go swimming. I'm like, really? You go swimming? What does that do? Well, I don't know. It's just something about the water. When we go in there, it just sort of allows it to sort of separate and just be on our own for a while. And that's all it takes for us to be happy. And so I left them, and they really were happy. And I thought to myself, there's a lesson here. Like, how many other couples are out there? Positive and negative, opposites attracting, don't seem like they can keep it together, but all they had to do was find a solution.